Hey everybody, it's Pete. Welcome to today's episode of Today's Best Stock Picks. It's Monday, June 22nd, 2020. Futures are up this morning. I'm not really sure why. It wasn't like the news was great over the weekend. It certainly didn't have a strong close on Friday. As a matter of fact, we had the opposite. We had a weak close on Friday. So we'll see. I don't know if this higher move is going to sustain itself for day traders. I might actually be looking super hard this morning to read the tape and see what's going on with the opening price and where we trade from there. We could take a very quick look at the SPY ETF on Friday so you can get an idea of exactly what I'm looking at today and specifically what I'm looking at going into the open. That seems to be a very big question that I get in emails as well as new people that jump into the boot camp, which is what are we supposed to do at the open? How do you watch so many stocks at the open? It's really pretty simple. It's really just a question of having a structure. For individual stocks in the markets, you need to be asking yourself, what do I expect to have happen on the open based on the last month, based on the last week, based on the last couple of days, and specifically the last 2 days. We'll take a look at one particular stock that is setting up as a short sale. Believe it or not, we got stuff on the other side right now. And also taking into consideration how the stock closed the previous day. So minimum criteria would be well bid or well offered, and how that stock closed in relation to what you expect to have happen on the open. So for example, 2 really strong days in a row, 2 large green candlesticks, both closing on the high, you would expect 1 of 2 opens that you'd game plan for. You'd open flat and immediately push higher and then trade the opening range out of that. The other one will be, which is kind of what we call the false positive. You get a strong stock that opens lower, and you look for a spot to bid that stock because it's strong. The lower opening really doesn't make a difference. So you actually separate your list from longs versus shorts. And then in that long list, you could look for both stocks that are up and down on the open. They're very different entries. The ones that open up and shoot up right out of the gate, that can be a little bit hard to manage because you're kind of getting involved as it's moving quickly, and you have to be okay and make quick decisions if it doesn't follow through immediately in that direction. It seems sometimes the lower opening in a strong stock is actually easier, where you open lower in the first 10 or 15 minutes, pause, find a really good entry signal, which we call the in 5 in the community, and you seem to get these perfect ideas where they shake down, shake out all that we can, stop, find a bid, and then get back above the opening price, which again, getting back to tape reading, if you watched our presentation last week, and then you get some trades that really just fly off your fingertips. And we actually had one in OSTK last week. I'm losing track of it. It's early. So anyway, we're going to get into the charts. We got a big list of stuff to look at today. And like I said, a couple of stocks that we're going to actually game plan for the short side if they break down. But we're going to actually start out with Draftkings, believe it or not. So here's where we are in the futures. You can see we're just kind of slowly drifting higher. I really don't see anything, any positive news about things getting better. Hopefully everybody's being safe for us to be drifting higher. Could just be an oversold bounce from the last 10 days of selling. I don't know. I'm not leaning heavily towards the short side, although I've been bidding for stock. But shooting back over to the daily charts, this is one that I keep pulling up, DraftKings.com, and you can see obviously it's in a really beautiful, beautiful move. I guess this is one of those stay-at-home stocks where everybody's getting involved now, despite the fact that sports is closed. But here's the thing that I really want to talk about is this. We have been talking about now for a week, and prior to this candle on Friday, where we were starting to see a significant increase in volume without price advancing. And that's the technical definition of distribution. Now, what you'd normally want to see during a pause is lighter volume, which generally says that it's going higher because nothing changed. But in fact, we're actually seeing the opposite of that. So it's going to be interesting. We had an inside candlestick on massive volume, no advance in price. We're up a little bit this morning, but you can bet your bottom dollar that I am going to be all over the stock because a big move is coming in the stock, and I would not be shocked if it was to the downside. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Existing home sales today. We did have one really good idea called out by a new member, Ron, in the group this week, which let's actually go to the daily chart. So you can see that there's actually a couple of different levels here. The stock was actually struggling to get through 100 here, but look at this last week. So Ron was putting the pieces together, reading the tape as a new member in the boot camp. where he said, okay, basically we are now well bid on the stock and a phenomenal relative strength week compared to the rest of the market. So what do? Do we chase this stock now that's now up basically $16 last week into what is now, let's actually go back out to the monthly chart, into what is now multi-year highs with the next level being up in the 130 area. So how do you trade it? How do you get involved in this stock right now? And the answer is, I'm personally, the conversation that I had with Ron over email is I think that the stock is a little bit frothy right now, obviously getting involved after the stock had, how big was that, an $8 rally in one day when the stock normally does maybe $3. So there's the false positive today, which is a lower opening, looking to bid, looking for new buyers to come in, but looking to swing trade it, which was actually Ron's question, is I would love to see the stock pull back, hover around 100 on light volume, and then look for that next $16 move. So really good job of calling out a stock there, Ron. Next, we have quite a few stocks, believe it or not, despite the market actually being negative on Friday. And I'm going to hold up the volume here so you can see. Actually punching through new 20-day highs. So a lot of these are going to be swing trades I'm going to be looking for. Some of these are not necessarily day trading stocks. And if you're new to the community and you're new to the channel, generally speaking, you can tell right away that they probably wouldn't be a good day trading stock because the majority of the candlesticks are melted candlesticks, which shows a lack of consistent institutional order flow. So it's very hard as a active day trader to make money in stocks that have consistent closes and opens at the same place. You're going to be driving yourself crazy. So maybe you can keep an eye on those kind of ideas as you're picking your stocks, but absolutely fits the criteria for a new swing trade. I'm looking to make sure it stays above 67 to maintain that position. Let's see. Next, we also have PDD, which has been called out quite a bit. Now, the difference between what we just looked at and PDD is actually now well bid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row and ending the 7th day on significantly larger volume. That technically fits the criteria of a saturation play. So I'd be looking to sell a higher opening today, looking for a short-term reversal. I would not be looking to add to this position. If you happen to be long and it's a swing trade and it keeps moving in your favor, that's fine, keep trailing it, but it does fit all the criteria of a reversal here. Let's see, Chewy is actually, ironically, we're talking about don't get caught on the short side, and now we're looking at a new breakout. I have a buy stop in Chewy set at 52. Another one that's very interesting as a longer-term swing trade is Hologic Inc., H-O-L-X. You can see it's been persistently having a hard time getting through this 54 level. Really good volume. Again, reading the tape, putting together price action and volume on Friday, and especially the fact that that had relative strength compared to the market on Friday. So absolutely looking for a new 3 to 5 day push for cash flow through this level as well. A couple of stocks that are not moving that actually punch through on my scanner with large volume is STX and WDC, two stocks you normally talk about together. And look at the volume spike here. This is really where you really understand trading at its highest level. When you really transcend just looking at charts, it's very easy to say that this is in a range, and it absolutely is, and there's nothing to do, especially if you're in the community. You'll hear me often say that that's the right price. But it's also absolutely a stock that must be in your watch list because something changed. You heard us in the presentation last week discuss the fact that you need to know what your perfect trade looks like, and then if it changes, you'll need to know exactly what you plan on doing, which is where a lot of traders got caught about not the previous week, but the week before that after the FOMC announcement. So there's FOMC announcement in the last week where they didn't recognize the tape changed and tried to trade the same way and paid for it, quite frankly. So what we're walking through here is how to spot what's perfect and then everything that's away from perfect and how to take advantage of it. One good flow that Chris normally trades, Chris Lander in our group, is OSTK. We actually mentioned this in our stocks for breakfast this morning. It wasn't on my list from a day trading perspective because we had 3 melted candles in a row, but just produced a really, really big winner on Friday, and we're looking for some follow through. You can see here's reading the tape on Friday, and basically just a really good clean move to the upside. So we're looking for some follow through there as well. Similar to that, we have ATVI that really had a good explosion. Now, this is also different too because this is not after massive momentum. It's really only 2 days of momentum on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Monday and Friday, really incredible weekly candlestick. You can see that we were not well bid. We're well bid now, so we're looking for some follow through here as well. Let's see, Adobe meets the criteria too. New breakout to new highs. ATVI is one that we're setting up to the long side. We just went inside candlestick breakout. We need to be above Friday's high to consider looking long there. On the short side, we actually do have a couple of trades that I'm looking for breakdowns. Now remember, a breakdown in a bullish market tends to get shoved back in your face. So any of these short sales we're talking about, we need to see confirmation to the downside. Now the reason I'm pulling up CVX here is we actually had pretty big volume. So I need to see it close on the daily chart below 88, at least below 88 before I look to initiate a possible short sale. TripAdvisors, we were actually looking for the stock to bottom out last week and have a reversal. It did not now. We actually ended up getting a bearish engulfing candle. Next area of support is down at 15. So you got some, if you're comfortable with short selling, you got a little bit of room there. DKNG meets the criteria as well. And last but not least on the list, DRI. So you can see we actually are now well offered, and the weekly candlestick also well offered and closed on the low. So we got some room to go there as well. So some interesting opportunities today. Obviously, we stick to our normal universe that we attack every day, which is the stocks that normally follow the market. And then we throw in a few of these stocks to see how they trade in relation to the market. Generally speaking, the big question we get all the time is, how do you pick the stocks? Which stocks do you trade on a daily and weekly basis? And if you're new to the channel, and especially if you're new to the style of trading that I do, which is order flow, generally speaking, I'm looking for stocks that move with the market. So we do a really thorough job every day of reading the tape in the market, which for purposes of this video, that's the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow, I'm a little tongue-tied, the Dow, and we also throw in the Russell 2000 once in a while just to get a feel for how small cap stocks are doing. Easier trading, again, easier is relative, please use that in context, is when the market's obvious and you're trading stocks that are moving with the market because all that money is going in the same direction. It's all doing the same thing. You can still trade stock-specific ideas when the market's not good or even when it's going down, as we just saw in OSTK. So that's when you kind of make those decisions. You have the market, you have your universe of stocks that are following the market, then you have your scanner stocks like we just picked up right now that you could trade in relation to individual stock ideas, which also we got a good question too about reading the sectors. Of course, there's the market, there's the sector, and then there's the stock. You want to stack that argument as much as possible. And then, like we said, we get some stocks that are kind of like off on their own that really are plays because of really good setups by reading the tape. So that's today's video. If you love the videos, absolutely, please do me a favor, click down and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And if you want to find out about the boot camp, click down and see how other people are doing too. It'd be awesome to have you in the community. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe and be profitable today. Take care.